Love to see if Kaunos could possibly play upset here. Who's going to win? Let's find out. It's Leaf and Lawler calling the action. Guys, take it away.
It'll be Mocket. Not to throw shade, but no. I mean, they're putting up a good fight. Kaunos is actually putting up a really decent fight against these teams. Again, we don't expect to do that. Bringing a lot of these games to 4 or 5 series, and I don't think they're going to give up. As I said on the desk, Mocket's still looking to even get a win in the RLCS, and hopefully for them this will be it. But Kaunos still can put up that fight.
Yeah, I mean, Mocket had a rough week last week, so there's that. And the other side, like Gibbs said, is Ferry and KDOP are known as probably like the best duo in the world right now. Unbelievable players. It takes them time to ramp up. As we saw them last week in that series, the more games that they got under their belt, the better and better those two looked. But for them, KDOP popped off. It just wasn't enough in that match. These guys have a lot of talent. A lot of us respected them coming into this week. And it's hard to argue with the desk on this one.
Well, yeah, you're right. But, I mean, the one thing I like about these two clashing together is their styles of play. I mean, the one thing I love about Kaunos is they do look out for each other. They get really good passing plays infield, especially on the way back. But Mocket is also really good at that.
Would you say they're a very balanced team in Kaunos?
Very balanced. The skill level might be peaked at a bit lower than some of the other teams, but very balanced, absolutely. And the team works together. Kaunos works together very well. And the fact that they can hold off against teams, again, like Pocket, sure, a sweep, but close series, it is still an impressive feat of its own. Mocket, again, if they can get those passing plays, though, might be able to get that around the players of Kaunos.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I said and asked if they were balanced is, I mean, last week they had some difficulties here and there, but overall, like, whenever a player stepped down, another player on their team stepped up. So both Niels and Zensis had 2 really strong performances in their series last week. But it's going to be rough against a team like Mocket. Like you said, that skill ceiling very high for these guys. Yeah,
one of the players for me to look out for Mocket for sure has to be Mystic. I mean, you talked about the other two being a good duo, but Mystic is that third that just has shown up since Season 2, showing up to LAN, as I said, considered to be one of that weaker players and maybe why dropped from the team, is showing up and showing his worth. Mystic is a player to watch out for and a great guy overall. But we come down to game number 1, Mocket Esports versus Kaunos. Kaunos just coming off a loss, a sweep against Pocket Aces. Now Mocket Esports looking to continue that streak of losing for Kaunos, but I'm sure they're not ready to give up another point. As they start off a play, those are the passing plays I'm talking about, off the sideboard. See if they can continue another one, maybe some back passing will be nice to get past that Mocket defense, as they are holding off really well right now. First minute, both teams trying to just get that flow going, but a dunk from Fairy Peak. Not rocking the Batmobile anymore, instead the Dominus almost dunks that one in from the defender of Kaunos to put in the first goal, but it was stopped out to the side, and now they have to try again at the midfield here. Kaunos trying to take control. Zensis, a pass or a shot. Either way, it was stopped out by KDOP, but 2 defenders now from Mocket out of the play. Fairy Peak, the last one back. Mystic trying to help for a pinch. It does work out, and KDOP is able to turn the play back down the other way.
I do like Mocket's aggression already, trying to get everybody involved early on, but look at it as it comes back. A demo on one side, immediately returned by KDOP.
Look at that. Completely horizontal passing coming up from Mocket as they try to capitalize on this demo. Looks like Kaunos already ready in the rotations, except for the fact they had 2 spiders up on the wall. Dan almost losing control, manages to have enough time to put that the other way as they try to create a counterattack, not breaking past the edge of that box there. They will try again at midfield. Mocket takes control and turns it the other way as Niels tries to set up a play of their own. Zensis a little bit too far behind, a cross-field passing. That was some speed to that ball, but they couldn't follow that one up.
Team plays, like you said, going across field, allows them to buy themselves time and clear it out of the field. As you know, Kaunos does a pretty good job of shadowing, but shots just not finding the net just yet.
Trying to get those passing plays. I see it from Mocket off the backboard. Ooh, that's actually a really rough spot. Fairy Peak just has to put it on target.
What a shot from Fairy Peak.
All he had to do, and it's Fairy Peak. He can do that as both defenders are completely gone from the net.
Well, you saw one shot coming in, and luckily for them, Mystic was committing to that as well, but Fairy Peak able to rotate under and using that bottom of his car, slowing the pace of that ball, just wanting to kill it so it can go in the net. Good angle from Fairy Peak, put him up by 1, getting involved early here.
2.5 minutes left now. Mocket Esports is up by 1 goal Kauno's always doing a good job of holding off against these top echelon teams. The teams that are expected to win, all they have to do is score, and they can keep these at a completely even pace. We'll see if they can do that in the remainder of this game as Zensis tries to set one up for Niels. That's a little far away, so Dan will move it instead. A pass back to Zensis, but he throws himself off target, and now the ball moving back the other way. Mockit trying to regain control here as Niels almost helps him out with a pass across his own net, but look at that passing play on defense. They couldn't break past midfield. Finally they do, but just the awareness of each other on this field. Unfortunately, a little bit off on that shot. That could have been a goal for Kaunos.
Yeah, those quick little touches just make it really difficult to defend against while they're trying to apply that pressure for Mockit. Luckily for them, that last touch was a clear. Otherwise, they could have spelled trouble for themselves.
Again, if we can see a little bit more of what they started up in their own end and we're able to turn it back to the offense from Kaunos, we might see a goal very soon. That's very hard for any team to be able to intercept, because your chance throwing someone out of your play and off of your defense. Dan keeping it slow. The flick not going far enough. Mystic will be able to take that one away from him. K-Dop can't set a pass down anywhere effective for Fairy Peaks, so he'll have to move in the corner instead. No 50-50 for him. A breakout chance finally for Kaunos as they go back down on offense, but every single time they get down there, they just seem to lose control. Very good at holding off on defense and breaking out, but it's that creating those scoring opportunities that Kaunos seems to lack.
No, it's exactly like you stated. Despite being able to hold off this onslaught from Mockit, they cleared downfield pretty well, and they buy themselves some time able to boost back up.
Oh, that could be one. Just stopped out by the defense there. Not even getting a save credit for that, but K-Dop will get the clear as they move it the other way.
What I'm really happy to see, though, from Mockit is the way they're completing their rotations. Too many times do we see players cut in front of each other because they think they have an opportunity. Shot almost from
Mystic can set this one out now, though, for K-Dop. K-Dop a little bit too far behind. Kaunos will be able to move to the other end, one-on-one. Niels trying for the far shot. He makes it past Fairy Peak. That's so hard as a defender. Is it a mind game? Is it a shot? It's a goal.
Yeah, well played by Niels as well. That slight delay in that hit, making sure to get around it, just puts enough of a angle on it to play it inside. Even though it wasn't the farthest across, it had enough power, and that's part of the reason why he rushed it. He tried to hit it as quickly as possible with that angle just to make sure that defender couldn't react in time. But 1-1, 17 seconds left. Anybody's game still.
Here we are all tied up. Might see an overtime now. Kaunos holding off against Mockit Esports with that last play there. Able to find the back of the net and put one in. Mockit just slowing it down. They'll try one more attempt here. They're going to have to back off as Kaunos slams that one the other way. Look at Niels already preemptively there for a passing play, but it will touch the ground. And we hit an overtime in game number 1 of this best of 5. Mockit Esports versus Kaunos. Mockit still looking for a point in league play.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with Mockit as well, playing very passive. Normally we see them send all 3, but so far, every time that they see something that's not really formulating, immediately back off. Really smart play, just not trying to take any risks.
Ooh, that's a little bit of a weird spot for Kaunos. They do manage to correct themselves. Dan gets a pinch in his favor straight down into that blue end. Mockit having to refresh from defense. Passing plays from Niels to Dan. That's a bad spot. And Niels is going to be able to slam that one in. A defensive mistake.
Oh, it's just as you stated, big defensive mistake. You see Mystic trying to get around and play that. I think he purposely rotated his card because he wanted to play that back out to the right. But with the way the ball's moving in, it just kills the momentum and settles it right in front of their net. Easy pickup for Niels.
And there it is, Kaunos taking that game. Surprisingly, everyone expecting a blowout in this series, maybe a sweep from Mockit. Kaunos holding in strong, taking a point now in this series as they get that overtime goal. And we said it before, they're doing a really good job of holding on defense. They never look like they're struggling on defense. Every time they're hitting the ball around, maybe sometimes by chance, they're connecting with each other and getting that ball into a hard clear. The issue is even when they do maintain possession up to the midfield to put it into the offense for themselves, they tend to lose it fairly quickly after. And it's usually just by a mechanical mistake. I've seen a few times the Kaunos players have control and just completely fly by it all of a sudden. I don't know what is happening when they get on offense. They're getting flustered, but it gives the ball back to into the hands of Mockit, and they can turn it around. So they're not able to score off them. They did score twice this time, but that was only because of a defensive mistake from Mystic on Mocket.
Right, and it's good that they're able to capitalize on that. Obviously, they're keeping their posture on defense, which is obviously the first step. If you have a team that's pretty aggressive like Mocket, the best thing you can do initially is be like, all right, we're going to let you what you have to do, and we're going to shut that down. And they did a good job of that. Even though some of those passes didn't look completely intentional, they looked safe, I guess. But they were able to clear it out and able to come out with a win.
Bubble with their passing plays.
It was weird. Like, it just kept bouncing around kind of like pinball, but just their team on their side. Kind of scary,
bubble.
but...
Well, they managed to take the first point in this series. Mocket now down 1-0. I'm sure they're going to want to get these next few. I'm sure we'll see their speed crank up quite a bit here. As we get back down into game number 2. They're already trying that hard offense, but you see K-Dop and Fairy Peak both backing off. That's going to give a lot of time for Niels to move that one back to midfield. K-Dop by himself. Fairy Peak, if he can drop this quickly, that should be a goal.
So close.
Tried to get that pinch off the crossbar.
No, exactly like you said, following that up, and worst case scenario, he draws a defender out for this side, but that pinch actually favors Kaunos as the clear comes out. Now they're able to contest at the midfield.
There could be a chance K-Dop, a throw up to Mystic. Mystic can't get another one to K-Dop, but he'll try to take control. Fairy Peak on the wrong side, maybe expecting that to go by K-Dop. We'll have to back off the defense. Kaunos grabbing that boost while on offense. That's going to put Mocket in a rough spot on defense as they try to put on this pressure. Niels Cook out of the play. Dan just getting a hard enough hit to get that over Fairy Peak. Maybe even a backflip would have kept it on offense and put Kaunos in a rough spot, but instead they let it go back into their own end. Dan out of the play. Mystic up for a shot. No drop from that one though. Zensis off the wall. Ooh, weird spot for the defense at Kaunos. Once again, it dropping straight down off the roof. Now they're starting to put some pressure on. There's a post shot. Scary spot for Zensus. A pass from K-Dot, maybe expecting Fairy Peak to stay there. Sometimes not connecting with their passes.
Still good awareness though from K-Dot. He saw that there was people in net, so rather than trying to force it, he passes it back out. And it eventually allows them perfect decision making there. He actually passed it out. It allows them to maintain possession, and then look what comes from it. K-Dot off that corner and plays it right back into the middle for Fairy Peak.
Well, they need this. A lot of the times they've been going for these passes that have been a little bit out of reach from their teammate Mocket, not connecting with a lot of those. Finally they do. As you said, a good touch from K-Dop as he throws it off the corner, knowing that Fairy Peak was ready for that pass. And they find themselves one up, but we did see them one up in a game number 1 as well. And Kaunos turned that one around for a win on that game. See if Kaunos can do it again. 3 minutes left, lots of time. Mocket only 1 goal up. Not quite the cushion they're looking for, especially when they're sitting on defense. Zensus has a chance to stuff that one under Fairy Peak. Couldn't quite get it by him, and Fairy Peak does move it back down past the midfield.
I like how Kaunos is getting creative with those goals too. Even though there's someone in net, they send one to go for the demo, frees up the space. It's just missing some of those shots. They need to make sure they capitalize on it like that.
Plays. I was going to say on it, I'm like, Zensus maybe should have taken a shot there, or sorry, Niels could have taken a shot. I didn't even see Zensus on the far side. What aware? These guys know where they are on the field at all times. They have radar.
Fantastic shoot up by Zensus, just rotating wide, just waiting for an opportunity, and then making sure that one goes in, something they desperately needed.
Halfway through and they tie it up. We saw Kaunos do this in game number 1. Took him into overtime to be able to do it though. We'll see if they can do it regulation time this time around. We're all tied up in the series. Mocket looking to put another one in the net. Not happy about that last one. A split there is going to allow K-Dop to move in. Forcing his way through, holding the boost the entire time. He tries to get that 50-50 in his favor, but that's going to run straight down to the other end. Quick to the air is K-Dop trying to get that one to Mystic. They're doing everything they can to try to set up a play, but look how well spread out right now Kaunos is. That rotation on defense looking beautiful. They're able to transition that one down into the other end to try to create an attack. And the communication on point right now from Kaunos as they're now back on offense.
I'm curious. Do you think when Kaunos gets tilted, if they do, that it's like sour milk, or do they call it like cow tipping?
That's a good question. We're going to have to ask them later. But right now they aren't doing either one of those. Because they're doing a really good job of keeping on to offense. But Mocket trying to turn this one around. Can't formulate anything. They're looking like what we saw Kaunos in some of the other matches. able to push that one past the midfield, but not creating any kind of real opportunities on net there. Good stop there off the backboard from Kaunos, and all they have to do is hold off for another minute, reset at that midfield for a kickoff, because now they're finding themselves struggling on defense, and this could be the buildup the Market needs to be able to put one in the net. A follow-up from Fairy Peak, a pass to the far side. There is a teammate. It drops in front. Fairy Peak trying to put it in. Can't get it past that other side of the goal line, and now Kaunos trying desperately for that counterattack. Their chance to run down while that Market was strictly on offense.
This defense from Kaunos is formidable.
Absolutely, it's incredible. They almost broke, though. It got very scary for Kaunos at that point, and that was the chance that Market needed to capitalize. You need to be able to punish any kind of hole, just as Kaunos did on that defensive malfunction from Market before. There's a shot from Nielso. That's going to go in. Talk about punishment, as I was just saying. Now we have Kaunos with 22 seconds left, up again in game number 2.
Well, a lot of the times you see these guys take their time downfield and dribble it, but he recognizes his open net and uses a power shot, making sure to hit that with the corner of his car right as it's bouncing up off the ground. And perfect placement, top right.
I think we're all going to be texting Gibbs to change our predictions right now, as Kaunos is looking good, but a quick answer, maybe speaking too early. 13 seconds left. We're back in a tie game, and Market not happy being behind. They're like, we need a point in this series. Great passing play from Market.
Exactly correct. And quick rebuttal, like we said, important. A lot of these games still staying with one goal. Like, very impressive from EU. All these teams have a chance to take it. It's just exciting Rocket League to watch all around.
Ooh, Fairy Peak trying for a clear. That's a bad spot. As they try to put one in, they couldn't get that team play. Zensis was trying to go for a creative play with Dan. They're, of course, going to let that drop. Market had no possession on that one. Would have been risky to throw it in front of the net. We hit another overtime here in this EU league play. Everything is so close. Off the bat, though, that could be a goal. Drop down. Not where Fairy Peak wanted it. Wonder if that dominance not working quite too well for him today. A lot of the touches he's been going for have been a little bit off. Kaunos looking for something. Niels knows he's the last one. It has to be a little bit patient with
so
it. Dan
close.
trying to get up for that, and Niels almost had a second touch himself. The turnaround the other way. Watch out, Fairy Peak creeping. Niels does get that one to the side. 30 seconds into this overtime. Mystic almost finding a couple holes in defense, but Kaunos quickly turning this the other way. That's a shot. A little bit short. There's a third in, and that's going to be it. An overtime goal again. And Kaunos taking game number 2, and they're at match point.
I mean, you're looking at this stat line, and in their game last week against Secrecy, there was a huge upset for Kaunos where they ended up taking it 3-1, and it's because one of their players popped off. You see Niels trying to do that again, just doing whatever he can to just put them that little bit extra forward. His team, like his rest of his teammates, are definitely involved. They're really helping out, but there's that one standout guy, and right now that seems to be Niels Cook again.
Although I do not want to say anything, but we've seen a lot of reverse sweeps
Don't
in
jinx it,
Season
man.
3 of the RLCS. A lot of reverse sweeps, and that could happen at any point here. But this is so close, and unless Market really starts to formulate anything on offense, this is a done series for them because they are not able to create anything when it comes to offense. They had a couple shot. Fairy Peak, honestly, has had a few weak touches that haven't really gone anywhere. A couple times been catching passes from his teammates where he's out of position. He's trying to recuperate. And I think it might come down to that. A few things, obviously, but it's just been a little bit off for Market. And Kaunos knows how to punish. The second they see an opportunity, they're going to take it.
Well, a lot of it has to do for 2 reasons, and it's not due to like the falter of Market. They're doing really good things on offense. Like when they kept that rotation consistent, they had like a point where they dropped it back down in a pass, and rather than like trying to force it in, they went for a demo. Mystic went for another pass, and like they keep trying to get stuff to happen, but the defense of Kaunos is just shutting it down. Shots-wise, they're still pretty equal. It's just for some reason there's something about Kaunos, the way that they're spreading themselves out and giving themselves those opportunities to where they're able to capitalize on counterattacks.
Honestly, the defense is, as I said it before, one of the most beautiful things I've seen in a while. The rotations are super strong from Kaunos, and it's just not allowing Market to really take any kind of control while they're on offense. And that's when they need to formulate, and I think that's where demos might start to come in handy, because you break up that rotation on defense from Kaunos, they're not going to be able to do the things they've been doing.
Well, we've already seen K-Dop try a couple of those. As a shot barely saved by K-Dop.
That was incredible. That was a lot of power from Dan as he pinched that one off the ground. Look at these forward passes they're trying to get. Dan was ready for another one. But now Kauno's 2-on-1. Now a 1-on-2. Rough spot there. Fair Peak just a little bit over, but no problem. Says K-Dop, except the post. Says also no problem. I'm going to stop that one finally. Fairy Peak with a nice soft shot. Gently puts that one away for the first goal. But again, for the third time in a row, Mocket's gone up. Will it be for a third time in a row that they drop the game, though?
It's really tough to say. A lot of it finally coming together, though. Capitalizing on that mistake. You saw two go up for it. Not only that, but that soft touch settling in front of their net. Just kind of panicking in that sense, which is kind of not normal for Kaunos. Usually they stay pretty composed on their own side.
One goal up. Only a minute has passed. Kaunos was creating some opportunities, and this may be answered very quickly. A shot. Just stopped by K-Dop to the side. The epic save. But will it be enough as Kaunos still putting on the attack? These guys are feeling it right now. Last defender back has to put it soft down. Maybe a little bit more mustard to that one would have been good. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get a point on the board out of that one. Now Mocket offense pushing forward. Great pass from K-Dop. Oh my goodness, in the corner. Look at the way he gets a second touch here.
Yeah, as soon as that ball goes up, K-Dop comes off the wall, flips into it, but luckily able to land and get that pinch perfectly out to his teammate. But this is the Mocket we know and expect. The aggression really showing. If they can keep this up, it's going to be a rough time for this, knock on wood, reverse sweep that people have been calling all day, I guess.
There it is. Well, I don't know. They've now 2 goals up. This is the first time they're breaking the trend of only being up by 1. And that could be exactly what they needed. Nice touch. Okay, K-Dop. We get it. You're amazing. Look at this. Look how he turns his car to get the soft side. This is all he could have done. That was the only open spot on the net. He had to get a soft touch to that side. Air rolls beautifully to put that one in.
Good decision making as well for that placement. But that's something that they weren't doing at the beginning. Originally, they were only sending 2 and then backing off. But this time, they're trusting themselves. They're allowing that third man to rotate in, assuming that the first guy that goes up in attack is going to rotate back and play some defense. It's paying off, but now it's up to Kaunos to rebuttal it.
They very well could do it right here, even with a shot. A lot of the shots a little bit weak coming into this third game. They do sit up 2-0. This is a match point for Kaunos. If Mocket loses this one, then that will be the series. But they're up 3 points. They're not looking to lose this one. And we see Kaunos still doing a really good job, though, on offense right now. Just, again, a lot of the shots lacking a little bit of power there. And the Mocket defense is able to stop a lot of them. They're not going to be able to stop that one, though. Oh, they are! What a save! So close! I would have panicked so hard and put it in my own net, but they managed to keep it out. Mocket, clutch save, keeping that goal away as we hit the halfway mark. Kaunos robbed of one of those goals. Incredible! Another passing play. Look at Dan, always up for that cherry pick shot, trying to get a flank. I like what Kaunos is doing. They just have to make sure they don't give up any more goals, and they might be able to squeak enough by in the next 2 minutes.
I mean, it's part of the reason why they're up in this series is those pass plays. Rather than taking the direct approach, they recognize, you know what, I'm not going to be selfish. I'm going to give it to my teammate. And just that slight touch to put it on a shot is just so much more difficult to read. But this Maka team is starting to wake up.
Let's see if Kaunos try to put him back to sleep as they have a minute 50 left. 3 goals trailing. Not going to be a very easy feat at all. As you just said, Mocket is starting to run amok here. Another shot.
Oh my goodness, K-Dop.
What?
What a dunk coming in. You see Mystic play this perfectly off that wall again, something they did last time. But for him to air roll and put that shot, just the follow-up. Obviously,
I don't think he even tried to do that one, but still incredible. Holy smokes. He just throws his body in there. K-Dop, a beast right now on the field. With a minute 30 left, I think Kaunos might be giving up this game. And they might want to look to the next. But of course, you want to start to get at least another goal just to start the momentum into the next game. But if you can't, just set your mind free and let it be fresh into the next one.
No, it's exactly like you stated. When you're down by this much with this amount of time, like, yeah, you can try to set some stuff up and go for it. But it's more so about focusing on the next game, and you want to make sure, like, you need to prove to yourself, like, yes, we can score. Let's focus on the next one. Let's do the same thing. but Mocket's not laying off, man.
The final minute remaining. I'm going to give this one to Mocket Esports. As you said, they're not laying off. It could turn around, but what seems like, look, every single time it looks like they're about to get a goal. I think they've had 4 good opportunities that have just been trickling towards the goal line like this, and every single time they've been stopped off by Mocket coming in clutch with the defense against Kaunos. Now that Kaunos finally has figured out what to do on offense and they're getting stopped, I don't know how they're going to react coming into game number 4.
No, and you and I talk about it quite a bit, but it usually favors the team that loses because they're able to make those adjustments that they need to. They recognize, okay, this is what beat us, so how do we fix it? While the winning team just has to try to keep doing what they're doing to capitalize on it. And it's not always the easiest thing to do is to basically try to have your plan still stay successful after the other team tries to adjust to it.
Yeah. Well, we talk about how mid-game adaptions can be really difficult. And it's very true. And that's why I say you got to look at the next game. But I don't know if Kaunos this is going to be a hard one to transition because Kaunos took a very long time. They took an entire series to get to this point, and now they're finally figuring out what to do on offense. Even the first game was a little weak. Now they're finally able to figure out what to do, and all of a sudden Mocket turns around in one game and says, "Okay, let's just start destroying you." Well, I mean, KDOP specifically is the one that figured it out. But that looks so. This is great. In private servers, the points are halved. That looks like a scoreboard of a regular server.
It's, yeah, a lot of points coming out from KDOP as well. Shots across. He had a very much so MVP week last week, and he's trying to show that again, really helping out with his team. But you got to give credit to his teammates, the support players who don't get as much love. Mystic and Fairy Peak are doing a fantastic job of setting him up in that match.
Yeah, again, it's as long as Fairy Peak can get those touches, those passes out properly, which weren't happening in the first 2 games, then they can just run over there. Honestly, KDOP almost was doing everything himself. Off the wall, he had that double touch pass to get out to a teammate. Then he just threw his body in front of like a few shots to slam them into the net. I mean, KDOP was going off, and now I'm a little bit scared because if he starts going up, his teammates are just going to get faster and faster as well. And for Kaunos, as I said, they finally figured out what to do on offense, and they didn't stop that. They still looked pretty strong. They just started to whiff a little bit more. I think the pressure got a little overwhelming. Coming into the next game is going to be really hard for Kaunos at this point. We did see them win 2 in a row. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it against Mocket on how they're looking right now. Well,
a lot of it had to do because every teammate was involved. Even though we're giving Fairy Peak kind of that MVP of that match or that last game that we watched, I mean, you still saw Fairy Peak with a hat trick. You know, everybody was doing their part. On the other side, on Kaunos, you saw Zensis. He was only sitting with probably about 100 points. You know, he needs to get himself and insert himself because in their games last week, Niels had a really strong performance. Now he needs his teammate to help out.
Well, we have a game number 4 now. Mocket Esports versus Kaunos. This is still match point for Kaunos. But could this be yet another reverse sweep in the RLCS? Mocket Esports looking to make that happen as they just showed up in game number 3. Kaunos now having to answer what just happened. You can't do this. KDOP gets a shot.
No way.
He was up 10 years before that pass even came to him.
Like, this is that connection we talk about. The best duo in the game. Unbelievable passing play. Just able to read and follow that. To not only, like, be able to get a slight touch so it still goes in the net, but to be able to drop that off to your teammate. Like, fantastic plays coming out from those two.
I think the defender could have done a little bit more than he had to try to save that, and as well as there. But, I mean, still a hard thing to save, but that's rough for the defense here. Zensis throwing himself out of the way. He's too close, and then I don't know what his teammate was doing. He got way too close.
Well, on that one, it was just a matter of taking advantage of that kickoff. You see, as soon as the ball kind of settles, Mystic goes up and puts a rocket of a shot off that backboard. And then no hesitation for the follow-up. They're up by 2, and this is looking scary for Kaunos. They got to think of something.
Talk about kickoffs, though. They've taken the momentum in their hands here. They're ready to turn this one around. Not ready to give up that reverse sweep. As they try to get an attack here, it does go back to their own end. Mocket killing off that play off the kickoff. Now it's going to be a little more rough because they have to start from their own end. Just better hope that they're boosted up. There's a nice hard clear. Out to Niels as he puts one on target. A follow-up. No dunk there from Zensis. And a quick turnaround transition down the other way. And I'm not sure, did Mystic get the bump there on the defender?
A lot of it had to do with the initial. You see two people committing really hard and playing that up high. Yeah, as they're walking downfield, he's just getting in his way. You even saw that a couple times as Dan was rotating, trying to mid to get to a pass to clear it. On their way back, when they're checking to their own net, they're just getting physical, and it's working out really well.
Just over a minute in, we already have 3 goals from Mocket. And this train is starting to roll as they're looking for the reverse sweep. They have to win 2 more games. This one already looking to be pretty good for them. See if they can continue that on, or if Kaunos is going to be able to answer. They take control here, but already a step ahead of them is Fairy Peak. 50-50 into the hands of K-Dop. He's up quick to that, but not quick enough. There's a 50-50 in favor of Kaunos. They take control. Now they move the other end. There's Dan already up. Already. And always waiting for those plays. A shot placed way too high. Doesn't have a third to follow in on that one.
Can't have that third follow in when he's gone. Good demos coming out. Yet again, Mocket showing that aggression. Look at Mystic moving around that field, just trying to go for something.
Dan trying for the double tap, but a Team Spider pinch off the backboard. They shoot that one over to the corner pretty quick. And right back down to the other end. They're having trouble setting up some plays again. Kaunos is stopping them off pretty well on the walls. Dan doing a lot of work on the walls to make sure that play can't get any further in the midfield. And that could be the turnaround that Kaunos needs. Look at that drop on net. K-Dop does keep that one away. Zentus trying desperately to buy some time for his teammates as they're rushing back. It won't be quick enough. It will be quick enough. Dan just gets a nose on that as K-Dop tries to slam one in. A quick turnaround. 2-on-1 situation. Look at that though. Dan throwing the Octane through the middle of them. Manages to get his teammates some more time. They put that back to the other end, but bad touch from Zensus goes into the hands of Fairy Peak.
Well, you show them, like, Mocket sends 2 players on that attack, and they actually win that, but then they don't do anything with it. They're not capitalizing on those mistakes, and unfortunately, they throw away possession in a position to where, in reality, they should have had the advantage.
I gotta say, Kaunos is still starting to wake up again.
They're playing much quicker.
In that last minute of gameplay there, looked a little more solid, but this game's still looking like it's going to Mocket Esports, and if that means a game number 5, I think Kaunos will be a little bit closer to holding off on that one, but Mocket's still looking really strong right now. A miss from Zensus. Miss from Dan. That'll be Niels by himself. A flick across. Dan might be there, though. Usually is up. Use that one for his teammate. Mystic will take control. Seeing that none of the Kaunos players was going to go for it. No third in there. Zensus probably could have taken some time, but he thankfully has Dan up there to reach that one. Dan always off the wall, ready for those forward passes. It just hasn't been enough to get past midfield even at this point. And that's going to be a rough spot. Fairy can just flick this one in. Zensus blocks that out. A back pass from Mystic. Beautiful pass. K-Dop tries to finish it off. Mocket staying on offense very well here. Now a chance, though, for Kaunos to break out.
Well, you see Kaunos starting to try to get creative again with those pass plays. All 3 players get involved as Dan dropped that into the middle. The only issue is they did it at the midfield while the entire Mocket team was still on defense. They're just taking a shot on net against pretty much 3 goalies. It's going to be a little bit more tough. Hopefully they can draw somebody out as they try to get one.
As Niels tries to take that one very slow down the field. Dents is taking a shot, but that's going to be a turnaround, though. They commit too much. Oh, a miss from Fairy Peak. But at 34 seconds left, 4 goals. This is still looking like it's going to be over for Kaunos as Mocket take it, but I like that they're slowing it down. What we saw before, and there's at least one answer going into the next game, but they're slowing it down, and that's what I think they need to do. Mocket sped it up. Let's take it to the ground, and let's really think about our passes instead of slamming them. The slams into Dan off the wall were working before, but they're not anymore. You need to change up how you're passing, but you still need to pass.
Yeah, they actually need a combination of both, because at this point, if Mocket keeps playing the way they are, these guys are going to have no boost to be able to make contests in the first place. But, like you said, in that midfield, in that area where they get some open space, slow it down, maintain some possession, and then pass it off your teammates. Stuff like this is going to look fantastic. It's just a matter of now finding the net.
Well, that's what I said. They've passed that second half. They only conceded
for the demo. What a bully.
I mean, they only conceded 1 goal, and they scored 2. If they can bring that into the next game, then they'll win. Like, that is a winning score, 2-1. As long as they can hold off that early onslaught from Mocket. If they can do what they just did in that second half, Kaunos will be fine. but I don't think it's going to be that easy.
Well, we talk about the best teams being able to adapt, and Kauno's doing that at the end. I'm curious to see if they can carry that into the last game, because we are now officially on match point. Another reverse sweep possibly in the works.
This is actually an incredible series at this point. We're going to a game number 5 in which all the desk guys thought that it was probably going to be a sweep. Kauno's doing an incredible job of holding off against Maka right now, but Maka looking to get that reverse sweep. They're looking to pull this one back. We've seen a lot of these. It can very much happen, but that second half, as I was just stating before, did look all right for Kaunos. They did start to really say, okay, this is what we need to do. And to be able to do that halfway through is going to help tremendously going into the next game, because now Maka is going to have to answer.
Well, not only that, but when it comes down to the end of the season, too, if we look towards the future, this is a team that, on both sides, is trying to look for their first win. I mean, you're 1-3 now, or technically 1-2 overall, and that puts you in a position for tiebreakers when it comes down to the end of the season, and these games are what are going to push you from that, 5th, 6th spot and up.
Again, this one is critical. We got to reiterate that Maka still has yet to get a win in this. They had 2 games last week and lost. Like that's not good. Coming into week number 2, you have to get this, especially against a team like Kaunos that is still not sitting too high on the leaderboards and not expected to. You need to get a win here.
Yeah, benefit of Kaunos, they had that huge upset last week. Looking to see if they can get another one with this reverse sweep. But let's get it into the last game of the day. Curious to see how this one ends up.
This could go either. This could be anything at this point. Game number 5, Maka Esports versus Kaunos. We have our game 5. Maka looking desperately to get a point here. Kaunos trying to answer back against this potential reverse sweep. They were up 2 points in the series, and now they're all tied up. Maka trying to get that early goal. That's exactly what they need. As long as Kaunos can hold off, they seem to be able to do well in the late game. As long as they hold off for this first little bit, they should be fine. But a quick play coming out here from Maka. That's still going to be a shot. The pressure. They put one in within the first 30 seconds, and that's not a good start for Kaunos.
No hesitation on these shots either. One after another. At most, one bounce hitting the ground. All these teams filing in line. And here we are in a very similar situation to those overtimes where Maka goes up by 1. And then can Kaunos respond? If not, we've seen what happens with Maka. As soon as they go up by 2 or more, this game's over.
The pressure, though, coming in from Kaunos as they try to answer that last one. Maka looking to make sure they can try to get a cushion. Kaunos trying desperately. Neil's a little bit of a weeble wobble in the air. And that'll be a turnaround from Maka as they create a counterattack. A pinch down, doesn't matter. K-Dop gonna be there to throw one into the net. That's a 2-goal lead.
Well, hopefully this doesn't stop Kaunos. As we saw and as I just mentioned, anytime Maka has gone up by 2 goals or more, they have closed out the game.
Yep.
But still a lot of time, only 1 minute and 3 gone.
You're right, lots of time. As long as Kaunos doesn't concede any more goals, they can still be in this game. Match point right now, whoever takes this game, takes the series, gives himself a point on the league rankings. Maka trying to create a play as they hold it in their own end. Zensu's trying to break that play up. There's Dan to help him out. A doink just a little bit above the net, put back in front. Zensu's trying to get there quickly, a little bit late, getting a bump. Dan throws one on target, almost working out. K-Dop does manage to get back in time to stop that play. That would have been just what they needed. Give themselves a little more confidence on this scoreboard right now. They sit behind by 2 goals with 3 minutes left. Maka, really all they have to do is hold off. Nothing risky really needs to come out in their play style right now. The slow play from Fairy Peak. He'll be out of the play now. Mystic forced to get up as his last defender wasn't wanting to risk that one. Kaunos was looking to push on offense. Almost a shot.
Now that's something we actually haven't seen. I like Fairy Peak trying to slow it down. There's a lot of really strong ones players in this lobby. But we just haven't seen too many dribbles yet. I guess it just hasn't been needed.
We're seeing a lot of rough defense right now, though, from Kaunos. Not what we're used to seeing from them in those last couple games. Maybe it's just a wear and tear. They tried to get one of those passing plays, but instead they just give the ball over to Fairy Peak with 2.5 minutes left. This is looking dire.
Yeah, Zensus was trying to air roll that to play it kind of down as he had a teammate behind him directly back. But the issue with it is that air roll hits his wheel and plays over, and because of that, like you said, Fairy Peak's got an opportunity and he's going to seize it every single time.
If you're going to make those risky passing plays, you have to connect with them. We know that Kaunos can do it. This isn't the time to be making those mistakes, so you have to be careful with those. Pressure, look at Fairy Peak almost blasting that one past two of the Kaunos defenders. They try to move it forward. Those are the passes, plays that you need to connect with. They almost did. Last defender. It's going to be Dan. Niels grabbing that offensive boost, knowing that his teammate was demoed. Very smart play from him. Allows him to maybe start up and attack. Zensus keeping this one low. A flick towards the net and saved by Mystic.
I do like what Kaunos just tried to do there. Too many times do we see that typical rotation of like one guy in, second guy follow, etc. They actually let their third guy back pass it up, and that then allows them two guys on offense to go for a shot. Really exciting to see. Unfortunately, it gets shut down pretty early by Mocket, but I'm glad they're trying to mix it up.
1:30 left, 3 goals behind. This is now it for Kaunos. They have to get a play, honestly, in the next 10 seconds if they want to feel any kind of comfortability going into that final minute of gameplay. Being down 2 goals at that point. This could be their chance here, but not enough power. Niels looking for a place to be, and unfortunately, not the right spot right now. Of course, K-Dop's just going to wait for that one. A demo for Mystic, buying themselves lots of time. That's all they have to do. 1 minute remaining now, and this could be the reverse sweep that Mocket was looking for. Their first point in league play. Kaunos has to answer. What a dunk from Mystic, stopping that push forward from Niels. Dan trying to continue it though. Niels waiting for the pass. No touch from him. Zensus the shot on net. Stopped by Mystic. 41 seconds left now. Mocket Esports holding off just fine. And this is looking like it might be it for Kaunos.
There's just something right now that says about this Mocket team that it like portrays confidence in their plays. The way that Mystic is contesting, the way that they're going for these 50-50s. Even K-Dop, we even heard the desk. I heard it verbally from those guys to where K-Dop went off that back wall and went for that touch. It's like they're confident in what they're doing, and it's really showing in these last 3 games for them.
15 seconds left now.
No
Mocket
way.
Not giving any chances. They try to get an incredible upfield passing play. Weren't able to finish that one off though, but it doesn't even matter as we hit those final seconds of gameplay. Maybe a consolation goal for Kaunos, not even. Mocket with another Season 3 reverse sweep as they take this one against Kaunos, grabbing their first point.
Unbelievable. Yet another reverse sweep, like you said, but kudos to Mocket. They recognized what was going on in those first 2 games, and then they really picked up the pace. They had complete control in those last 3 games, and it completely showed. But K-Dop, once again, playing out of his mind. Last week, he had a really breakout game performance, but this week as well, really showing and trying to bring this team in.
I mean, honestly, though, kudos to Kaunos.
Correct.
Against a team like Mocket, the fact that you were able to hold up and you figured out what you need to do, and hopefully that will carry over for Kaunos into the rest of their games in league play. But right now, for today, they were unable to grab a point from Mocket, a reverse sweep for Mocket. And as everyone wipes the sweat off their brow for their predictions, we're going to head back to the desk.
Thanks so much, Leaf. Gibbs, James, what is happening in this league right now? Like,
it's reverse sweep syndrome.
Yeah, we predicted perfectly if it started at game 3. Because
You're right.
That's what we thought was going to happen. Yeah.
I mean, you predicted a sweep. It just you had to take 2.
We should have waited.
And it was interesting because games 1 and 2 were completely different than games 3 through 5.
Well, it was both of those first 2 games overtime losses for Mock. And Niels Cook, he was the guy who was putting those daggers in. But like you said, game 3, that's when things changed. But out of the gate, it looked like Kaunos was going to get the upset.
Yeah, very slow start from Mocket, not getting much offense at all, which is what we expect to see. Well, we want to see a lot of offense from Mocket. They're one of the best in Europe, and we just didn't see it for the first 2 games. And then after that, though, games 3, 4, and 5, 12 goals to 2.
Yeah, it was a 12-2 run, insane. But Fairy Peak was the guy who was on from the very beginning. He was on point every single game this series. K-Dop waited till game 3 before he started contributing, but just single-handedly, Fairy Peak scored 8 goals on 14 shots. Kaunos scored 7 goals on 43 shots. So when we're talking about offense, Fairy Peak was the MVP for Mocket.
And Fairy Peak, 5 goals in a row to start the series. And then finally, his partner, his duo member here, K-Dop, coming in with some great plays as well. And then they even had some really nice passing plays, like the one where K-Dop actually flew off the wall before Fairy Peak even passed it.
It was like a Jazer video.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what they're known for. They know that these two, they trust each other with every single hit. And it started to finally show in games 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, it has to feel good for Mocket. They finally show up in the form we all expected them to, get the win here over Kaunos. And as we take a look at the European standings after 2 weeks of league play, well done to Mocket. They do not have that last place spot anymore, and they have a win finally.
Yes, but we have 6 teams with only 1 win. Of course, some of these teams have more losses, but Leftovers and Pocket, 3 wins is a nice spot right now with everyone else only having 1 win.
Yeah, and the Leftovers, their strength of schedule it's in their favor as well. 3 of their wins, 2 of them included Flipside and Northern Gaming, and then we saw them get the win over Penta today. So a big result for them.
Yeah, you want to talk about a front-loaded schedule. Week number 1, facing off against Flipside and Northern Gaming, and they came through. Leftovers looking great, but they were also joined by the Pocket Aces this week, as an undefeated team that is 3-0. Player of the week going to be Pashy90 here, as he was able to carry Pocket Aces and give them that 3-0.
Hey Gibbs, how much did you pay the people to pick your EU MVP prediction to be Player of the Week?
To be honest, I'm broke now. I didn't have much to begin with, but yes, I am broke now. Pashy coming up huge, as well as Violent Panda. Both of them having a phenomenal 2 series for them. And Pashy, he had some insane shots throughout both series.
And Apache, he's just one of those players you can never count out. And some people might forget because it's a different name, Pocket Aces instead of Mocket. But Pashy and Violent Panda, these guys with Devo were the team that came second in the world last season. So it's no surprise seeing Pashy and Violent Panda, even with Chassette, being a team that is a huge contender. They remain undefeated. And like we're seeing here, a big part of that comes from Pashy and his plays today.
They had a shaky start versus Penta, where they barely won the series, but then they turned it on a little bit more, and you just can't say enough about Pashy and his leadership. Bringing in Chassette, and Chassette had a few good plays as well. He was mostly the support, though, for Violent Panda and Pashy. Violent Panda setting up everything for Pashy, basically. And like
this shot. Yeah, that was it evoked emotion. Pure raw emotion, because that was such a
wish
good
I could
shot.
do it, but
We both just sat in awe for just a moment, like, oh, I remember this moment. This moment was so good. And what is happening though, just like in the overall league play right now? We've seen 2 reverse sweeps today. We've had at least 1 a day per league play. Is there, like, speculate with me, like, what is different this season? Is it just that much more close? Do we need to start playing best of 7s? Do we need to play best of 3s? Like, what is going on right now?
let's just do best of 21s. We'll have 1 game a day.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
It'll be fun. It'll be a
Follow
really
it
long
all
league
throughout
play.
the year.
It's just everyone's gotten so much better that when you start seeing some skill difference, sure, some players are still climbing, but not as fast as they once were. So now it's extremely close between everyone.
And exactly, you're right. In Europe, we've traditionally seen the skill at the top so close. North America seems a little bit more predictable. But here, Pocket Aces, they're a team we were expecting to be at the top. The Leftovers sitting at 3-0 still baffles me that they were able to do that.
Yeah.
But and like you said, all these teams with just 1 win, anything can happen.
Again, Leftovers, they started the day with a reverse sweep. We start the day with 1, we end the day with 1. We now have 5 in 4 days of league play. And this is why we love to watch the games, because anything can happen.
Yeah, and Farah, Snasky, Sicky, all these guys. This shot, I remember that one, Snasky getting the assist. That one was a pretty comical goal. But again, you can't count the Leftovers out. These guys like to play from behind. Like you said, maybe the best strategy to go against the Leftovers is let them win the first game or the first couple games, because then maybe you'll have a shot.
It's a bold strategy, but we'll see if it pays off here. But for the Leftovers, it's been paying off. I don't know how they keep doing it. Eventually, I think they'll lose, but the magic is there, and if they can just ride this momentum throughout all of league play, they might not even have to worry about playoffs to get to the World Championships.
Yep, and again, if you're new to the show, maybe you're just tuning in, not familiar with previous seasons, if you finish in the top 2 during league play, then you get an automatic bid to the World Championship, and you get a bye in the first round of the European or North American Championship, whichever region you're in. So huge, everything on the line during league play.
Yeah, it's really in Europe right now. The leftovers and Pocket are pulling away from the pack in many ways to solidify their spots, and those top 2 spots just had the automatic berth into LAN. And the leftovers, we mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, we talked about it on overtime in the middle of the week. Are the leftovers for real? And you do it 3 times now. I
still don't know, honestly.
I don't know. I feel like I gotta give it to them at this point.
It's really nice for them because they do have tiebreakers over a lot of these teams now. They probably need at least 2 more wins to be in the run-in for top 2. But I still don't know either because every game is so close with them.
All these teams are beating each other up, though. You look at all those teams sitting with just 1 win. It is a brawl in the European region. Everyone's beating each other.
Yeah.
When we saw today with Pocket versus Penta, another series that went the full 5 games. Penta, not a favorite by any means, but gave Pocket, the other undefeated team, a full run for their money here.
And this is Penta with a sub. They were a team that a lot of people thought maybe 6th, 7th, or 8th, and that was with their normal roster. But Mummy Snow coming in, having a huge performance, because that's really hard to just come in, a brand new player to the team. Yeah. Probably doesn't get a ton of practice with them. They probably practiced this week because they knew there was no opponent.
You could tell, too, that he was a sub. He was at times, you could tell how uncomfortable Penta was with their rotations, and they would commit more people to the ball on both offense and the defensive side of the ball. But Mummy Snow did have some really big defensive plays. I thought, as far as the sub goes, he did what he was supposed to. He came in and he gave Penta a chance to get the win. But Pocket Aces, they've just proved that they're a top team.
And this was Pashy, hit a 5-goal series with Violent Panda getting 5 assists as well. That duo is starting. We always talk about, like in Europe, there's a lot of duos, and Pashy and Violent Panda are probably one of those that a lot of people don't talk about, but they were grand finalists last season. They're doing it again with a new teammate, no Devo anymore, but they're still winning games, and that's what Pashy does during league play.
Yeah, winning games is something that Pashy's pretty used to. Aside from the Season 1 World Championship, Pashy has performed on the biggest stages.
He has always performed. You talk about duos, and Pashy was always a member with Sicky. They were the duo, and then they've split up, and now Sicky has the other super hot roster in Europe. I cannot wait for that grudge match. Yeah, super hot, like fire.
Because it has Snasky on it.
Of course, he's so snazzy, man. And Farah, who
we should bring
almost sounds like
Snasky
fire.
out for overtime. We should interview him just so we can get a piece.
That would be so much fun.
Yeah.
Okay, well that does wrap up the day for Europe. We can take a look at the North American standings just in case you missed it yesterday and see how that all panned out. Amazing stuff there from Selfless as they improved to 4-0. And this one a little bit more spread out than Europe, but still kind of got a top pack and a lower pack.
Yeah, 2 weeks. We have 5 undefeated teams between the 2 regions. We have 3 in North America, and Set to Destroy right now 0-4, the only team without a win.
Yeah, and the important thing to note about Selfless sitting at 4-0, they still have 2 really tough teams ahead of them, because you can see NRG G2, they haven't lost yet. So we're going to see a lot of these Titan teams from North America face off in the coming weeks.
But Selfless, they have clinched a playoff berth at least. Now they're trying to get that top 2 seed.
Trying to secure those top 2 seeds. We will be able to see if they do. And if you don't ever get to watch the broadcast, if you ever miss a broadcast, be sure to tune into RLCS Overtime, as we got to abbreviate all the actual recap it for you. We have a really good time there. It airs on Wednesdays, 10 a.m. Pacific. It's always a blast. So
and maybe even an interview with Snasky.
Maybe I would be all about that.
That would be nice.
That'd be nice. It'd be super good. And next week, for all of you OCE fans, OCE is going to be starting up after the North American broadcast on Saturday. That is the next time you will see us here on the RLCS channel. Will be next Saturday for the North American Week 3 League play. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen. It's going to be so much fun. But for all of us here at the RLCS, thank you so much for tuning in. We've had a great week, and we cannot wait to see you next week. Stay safe. See you later.